G'day comrade subscribers. So I've got the keyboard all stripped. So this is the base plate, starting point. So I'll give it a clean, give it a good scrub, and then I'm going to respray it black. So it should look a lot better. I'll give the all the key switches a bit of a blow off as well, and give the keyboard membrane a bit of a wipe down. I think I'm not going to wash it so much. I think just a bit of IPA and wipe it down. I think that'll be the best thing. I've got the keycaps soaking. I've given them a good clean. So get that all back together, clean the case, and then we'll have a crack at removing the VDP, the TMS9118, and trying the Pico9918. Right, so whilst we wait for the keyboard to be all sorted, let's pull apart the top case so that we can give it a bit of a clean. I'm mostly interested in the circuit board here. Not too sure what this pulley is for. Looks like, anyway, I want to get all this out so I can give the top case a proper scrub without having to worry about all of this. So mostly I'm able to get the board off. The problem is that we've got the wires for the record. I would say the record and the playback head are soldered on, and then we've got this one wire, this blue wire, which goes somewhere. Where's the blue wire go? Oh, it's under here? No. Something to do. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. That blue wire can just be unscrewed there. That's all right. That's no problem. All right. So I'm going to have to remember how all of this is done. But yeah, so I'm going to have to desolder these two. Remember which is which. All right. So I'll have to take a photo. Time has passed, and this is what the base plate looks like now, given it 2 coats. So that should be suitable for me. So I'll get that back together. Then we'll have a look at trying to figure out where we can inject audio, so I can load from the Lova WAV file. And I've got all the keycaps. All the keycaps are clean. So couldn't really get the grime. Well, there's not really grime. It's just I guess exposure to sun. So there's not much I can really do about that. But they are much cleaner than they were. So. There we go. All done. I think that looks much better than it was. Get the back plate on now before I lose any of these little LEDs that are just gently held in. So I gave that a wipe down as well. So it's looking much better. It goes on that way. And it's just a matter of retwisting all of the relevant tabs. Whichever way they were originally twisted, just a little bit. So rather screws, but that's what we've got here. Okay, almost done. So I've noticed a small issue with how I've put these switches back in. They are actually polarized, I guess. You can see that there's a, I noticed that some of the keys seem to be opposite. You notice there's a little nip there. That should be facing down, not up. As a result, you kind of get some weird, yeah, like you can see with the difference between the tab and the Q. So that's because all of the all that little nib is supposed to be pointing down. So that one I need to get out and turn around. That one I need to turn around. That one I need to turn around. There you go. That one I need to turn around. So just a little tip if you ever pull one of these apart. Right, it is done. Almost. So even though I've got all the keycaps facing the right way, I still think there might be some like kind of special different keycaps, because you look at that, what's that, the J key there, it's just slightly different even though they're all facing the right way, and it's the same with the select and stop. So I might swap the select and the J keycap around. I think the cursor keys I'm going to have a look at as well. So let's see what the difference is. There we go. We're getting there. I think it's looking a lot better. Still not sure what's going on with this select and the J key. I will sort it out. Actually, this shift key's back to, yeah, and the shift key. All right.
G'day again, comrade subscribers. It's been a couple of days. So I have I've designed a simple replacement power supply, 12 volts DC in, and then generates the plus 5 volts and negative 12 volts to replace the original Japanese 100 volt AC. So I'll send that off to PCBWay. I think I've got, so the original PCB was, well, as you can see, is quite large. When I took it out, I noticed there's another pair of holes here. So if I can get it under 100mm by 100mm, then you can get 10 PCBs for $5 from PCBWay, channel sponsor. So that's what I've done, rather than just having the full size there. Cut it down so it's under the 100mm. So I'll send that off and see if that works. But in the meantime, I'll use the original power supply, and let's see if we can get this Aussie Pico9918 replacement board to work. So we've got a 9118, but I'm told, I think from what I've read, it is compatible. The main difference with this one is that you've got 4-bit RAM. So you've only got you've got your 16K here, 16K by 4-bit, rather than having 1-bit. Apparently that's the only difference. I had a quick look at the pinout, and the only difference between the 9118 and the 9918 is the GROM clock, pin 37, not connected. As far as I know, that's the only difference I can tell. And there is a jumper setting, apparently, very nicely sent. So let me just open this up. Let me very gently open this up. Very, you know, he's gone to a lot of effort to make it very professionally packaged. Anyway, so yeah, pin 37. So there's a small jumper there that you can cut, so it's not connected. So the plan is, well, what I'm going to do is I'll just write a quick MSX program just to show what the video output looks like through the composite output, and replace it. So I'll have to desolder it using the trusty old engineer solder sucker SS03, and then install that and run it again, see the improvement. Basically VGA, so I've got VGA output, so I will do that. With a bit of coaxing, managed to get it out. So I'm going to stick a socket in, and let's try, see what it does. It is installed with some difficulty because I'm using turn pin sockets. So dual wiper socket would have been better, but I don't have any 40 pin. So yeah, it took a bit of effort, but it's in there. Right, so for the VGA out, I'm thinking I might remove the RF modulator and just make the hole a bit bigger and stick it there. But I'll do that because I've got to drill a hole in the well, make the hole a little larger. But I think that'll work out well. And then I can just, well, obviously I don't want to short anything, so I'll have to be very careful. Choose it carefully. But anyway, so let's put it all back together and see the difference. So before, what I was using is composite to this HDMI converter. So I'll be using a VGA to HDMI converter instead. So different converter, but I'm pretty sure we'll see a good difference. After some fiddling with VGA to HDMI converters, etc., etc., I have got a rather gloriously sharp image on the screen. So we will just do some quick testing. So I've got it hooked up. So I think in future I'm just going to get the HDMI rather than fiddling with all of this. But yeah, I still think removing this, making the hole a bit bigger, mounting it there will be perfect. So let's do a test and compare it. We're all set up. I've done some quick testing. So I have noticed one issue. So if we start recording, so we're powered off. So power on. Where am I powered on? All right, powered on. And we're booted, all good. Okay, if we just press the reset button, okay, you can see the Pico's up and running, got VGA out, but we don't actually have image from the computer itself. So it doesn't look like reset is working too well, which is fine because the Sanyo's not on the tested compatibility list. So I guess this is the first time this is being tried. So if we power off and then power on, there we go. So now it's working fine. Look at that. That's so much better. Right, let's just, I'll type in the program that we did last time just to, so we can compare the output. So I've got the program there. Let's type her in and give it a try. Okay, let's give that a try. And there we go. Not exciting, but it's definitely looking a lot better than it was before. Huge improvement. So let's just try also our little test program that we did last time. Okay, and so we did have tesuto, kana, tesuto, and hiragana, but yes, the trick is you need to put caps lock on, and then we get katakana, tesuto. There we go. So that's how it should have print. But last time we did hiragana, so let's do hiragana again. Tesuto. Whoop, kana off. There we go. That's better. Okay, and go to 10. All right. There we go. Cool. Huge. Big difference. Huge, huge, huge. Oh, okay, and I can see it's got little, can't really show you, but the Pico9918's got little, actually, I can maybe, I'll do that run again. I'll show you, it's got the little LEDs flashing. So, as the program's running, you can see we've got the little LEDs flashing to show read and write. So if we stop, cool. All right, there we go. So it's working, looking very nice. I'm very happy. So figure out how to get some software loaded next time, I think. Okay, thanks for hanging around. Bye for now.